Hey guys, alright, my 2 cents martial arts training tips from the perspective of traditional martial arts and kung fu. Yeah, we've been talking about developing the iron bridge, which is the connection between the fist and the shoulder, tendon training, bone training, the muscle training. Yeah. Now, I've tried a couple of times to make this video, but I've had to can it because it's such a complicated subject. But basically, in a nutshell, I wanted to say today, don't forget to wash the tendons. Now, what does he mean by that? I mean qi gung. Yeah, if you practice martial arts, qi gung, iron wire, sanshin. If you practice martial arts, you'll probably do some sort of calisthenic movement. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Now, this is a widely misunderstood subject, I believe, in Kung Fu, and it'll take too long to talk about the whole thing. But in a nutshell, I want to say it for you. So your tendons are very strong. They're elastic, but the blood flow to them is somewhat less than that to the muscles. Yeah, but you can still train them. You need high rep movements, you need flexibility and stretching, full range of motion. So we've done all our sledgehammers, we've done everything like that. You can get tendonitis, you can get all this. So after you've done all those things, you wash the tendons, yeah? So it takes a lot of movements to send blood to these tendons, yeah? Or a specific kind of movements. These movements were figured out by the yogis, they were figured out and transmitted to the Shaolins, and this is what qi gung is, in my opinion, yeah? Or this is one aspect of what qi gung might be, or the energy transfer and this. To me, it's a physical thing because there's no magic in martial arts. So I practice qi gung. It's almost like a yoga. It's a physical thing. I'm not cultivating mystical energies yet, maybe. Yeah. So I'm not saying in the martial arts world, don't flame me. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying at my level, I treat it as a physical exercise. So what I mean by wash the tendons is there's loads of core movements: pushing, raising the sky, the pot, yeah, the bow. Shooting the bow, yeah. Now, for our purposes, we're going to use these movements as a functional stretch and wash for the tendons. So it's too broad to go into, but I have done a video on it, so I'll post the link to that. It's too broad to go into, and it obviously extends to the whole body. But for the purposes of our iron bridge, some of the movements might be afterwards extending this hand to the most of its limit, and then going further as if you're grabbing something and you can already feel the tension, yeah, and going down and then going back, yeah. So basically every time you push your hand to the extent of its limit, you reach a bit further and you pull back, yeah, and you repeat that and you pull back, yeah, and you repeat and you pull back. And the same this way. Push the hand to the further of its extremity with the positioning like this. Then when it gets there, you'll feel this big stretch. Then you reach as if you're trying to reach something really far away. And then you raise. Yeah? And you reach. And you raise. And you reach. And you'll see you don't have to put fake tension into your hand. Yeah? It's the reaching. It's the extension that brings the tension, and it's the same, you do it up as well. So you go up with gentle breaths, and then when you get the top with your hands like this, you're reaching to the full of your extent, and then you're coming down, yeah? And then you're doing this, and you'll get the idea, yeah? This isn't a how-to video on those, but what I'm saying is look into it and do some tendon washings. The tendon washings can be as simple as holding your arm out in front of yourself, like this, for some minutes. In fact, some very famous practitioners of iron body kung fu practice, and I certainly enjoy this practice, just the static positions, the static qi gung. So you'd be out here for some time, you'd be here for some time, you'd be out there for some time. The hands are at this position, flat, yeah. You'd be raising the sky for some time. You'd be again here, and you can see how it locks certain muscles into place. You'd be pushing the floor for some time. You'd be doing bow arrow stance this way for some time, bow arrow stance that way for some time, or you could call it yoga. Oh, it's bow arrow stance in yoga as well. Warrior pose, sorry. So sorry guys, you either get or not get this. Maybe the Kung Fu people will get it more. What I'm saying is, practice some of these calisthenic stretchings. Yeah? Because we stretch our legs and stuff, and in the West we sort of stretch our arms a bit like this. But you'll see it'll improve the length of your tendons, it'll improve the function, you won't get tendonitis or tennis elbow. I had one guy he's actually posted on my video. I'll post the same video, but I did a video on some of these just simple qigong postures, these simple flexion exercises that you see the Shaolins doing, and he actually came back to me and said, oh, you know, I used to have tendonitis and really bad tennis elbow, and I did these exercises and now it's fixed, thank you very much. And I also had a guy at work who had groin strain all the time. I said to him, man, do yoga warrior pose. It'll lengthen everything, it'll strengthen the muscles, they're lengthened, the muscles, and they're under tension. So that makes them very strong, and it doesn't damage a muscle. A flexed muscle doesn't get damaged that easily under tension, unless it's beyond its sort of point that it can hold. That's the sort of core and the basis of a lot of, you know, Shaolin Kung Fu and fighting Kung Fu, is this lengthened elastic tension. Yeah.